So we celebrate that. Why we're here also today is because Mordechai, Yasho is going to give Mordechai and Meira a mazel tov because they were recently engaged. They're also going to Eretz Yisrael right after the wedding to study. David just got engaged. Another couple just got engaged, also mazel tov. And another friend of us also went through something very, very tragic, and there's only good news with that. So Mordechai, take the floor and bless us with your beautiful Dvar Torah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kenny.
Is it okay if I give it Dvar Torah sunglasses? Is that okay with you guys? I'm not trying to conceal anything. I just
Concealment is good.
it's a little day something. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try to give the best Dvar Torah my entire life. Wow. My entire life. Okay, so what I want to do is, this is the goal of the Dvar Torah I'm going to share. The goal is to connect the idea of halakha to the idea of marriage and love and new beginnings. Okay, because that's what the Kelmans are going to experience going into Israel, is a new beginning on their relationship, a new beginning on their Judaism, a new beginning on life as a whole.
Yep.
So I want to support that idea with this brush. So I've been reading a lot from this particular rabbi named Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. Have you guys heard of this guy?
Yes.
So like late 1800s, early 1900s? Okay. And just briefly the idea about the rabbi I'm learning from is the fact that he was in Germany in a time when there was all these new ideas about life, about civilization, how people should interact with each other. And a lot of the Jews at the time were also influenced by these new age ideas. And so out of that, Reform Judaism, conservative Judaism came out of this moment in history. The Jews were kind of, trying to figure out what life was. So Rabbi Hirsch, all of his writings were based off of the idea of taking what was going on currently and connecting that to the challenges that the Jews were facing at that time. So that's the premise. Okay, so here's the concept. This is the concept, and I'm going to make it very brief. But I'm reading his book. It's called Torah, which is a philosophical approach to halakha. And so as a premise, every human being that exists on planet Earth, every living thing that exists on planet Earth has its own space, has its own particular space, and we can see that in Galatians. When God is describing the creation of the world, he's talking about stages and phases, which means is that one aspect of creation has its own allotment versus the next day, and the day after that. And so the same thing goes with human beings. Everything that we have, our ability to speak, our ability to see, our ability to fall in love, our ability to make money, all of these gifts come from God. And so we acknowledge the idea that everything that we have comes from Hashem. That's the idea of justice. If I take away your rights, if I say you're not able to speak, that's an act of injustice. So being on 4th of July, the idea of American independence on a spiritual level is saying that every human being was given rights given to them by God, and no government and no institution has a right to infringe on those rights. That's what we're doing right now. Like the Declaration of Independence is saying that I as a human being have rights. No one has a right to give me those rights. By being born as a human being, I'm giving these specific rights, and no government and no individual has a right to do that. That's the American Constitution. So the way that we understand that in Judaism, or how we express it, is through two sets of laws. The laws of mishpatim, which are the laws between individuals, like how I should treat you and respect your space, and the laws of hukim, which have to do with things that are subordinate to us, like plants, animals, property, all these things. So God has already created the mechanism for us to interact with creation. It's already here. So this is the idea, this is how it connects to the Kelmans and every single person here. In Judaism, we have this idea called the mitzvah. If I'm saying that the laws of justice already exist, that I respect your rights and you respect my rights, that's already established. What we're saying is that Judaism brings a new idea to the table, an idea that the Constitution does not have, which is the idea of mitzvot. Rabbi Hirsch defines mitzvot from the aspect of this: an act of unconditional love for someone's welfare with no benefit to yourself. And that's the idea of the mitzvah. That's the idea. The idea is to say that I'm going to do something for your well-being. It doesn't matter if I benefit from it. It doesn't matter if it's connected to my agenda. It's the fact that God says that if I see something that can improve your life or add value to your experience as a human being, I'm going to do it. And not only am I going to do it, it's a law. It's in the Torah. It's in the Torah. And Rabbi Hirsch says something that's so amazing. It connects to relationships and marriage. And I'm giving, this is connected to the Kelmans. He says when we do an act of unconditional love, it's the highest level of human potential. As human beings, the greatest feat that we can achieve is giving an act of unconditional love to another person for no reason. That's our highest level. That's Judaism. That's not, it's interesting. I converted to Judaism. Why do other religions convert if people in Judaism doesn't want you? Because Judaism says, if you're a good person, you don't need to be Jewish. If you're a good person and you do good amongst other people, you're good. You're good with God. Other religions say, if you convert, now you're good. So the highest potential of the individual in Judaism is a human being of unconditional love. So what does that mean? What does that mean? When we talk about marriage, and I'm going to end it with this idea. And this is a big idea for everyone who's married. Everyone who's married. Because in a secular society, we judge each other on external basis. How much money you make, your status, where you're at, what you're going to do for me. In Judaism, it says that by acting out unconditional love to another person, you experience love. You know what I'm saying? If you act out unconditional love, you experience love. To the point, they say the love of a parent to a child is greater than the love to the child to the parent, because the parent is giving unconditional love. So the institution of marriage in Judaism is not about, I'm getting married, I need to cover bills, and I don't want to be alone, and yeah, kids are great. But it's the idea in Judaism is the idea of using the context of marriage or relationships to reach your highest potential as a human being through giving to the partner. The partner's not making you great. You're great and you're connecting to love because what you do for the partner. And so the Kalmans go into a new reality in Israel, where every neshama that's in this room is going to eventually return. May they connect to the idea of using their marriage, not as a means of seeing what's not there or what's not there. I'm not saying that's the case. But using their marriage as a mechanism to transform themselves into beings of unconditional love, so they can experience the love that the Torah promises all of humanity.